Hi, it's Scott Bassett with Understanding Narcissists, and in this episode, I want to go into another fundamental principle, another universal principle of narcissists, which is their relationship with their main supply or main codependent enabler, whatever you want to call it, which is basically you. That's who you are. This principle is called the child parent duality. And I've never really liked the name, but I've always kept it that way because I don't really know what else to call it because it's so apt. It describes really well the relationship they have with you, and because it's all in the name. But I've spoken before how narcissists regard themselves as children. They feel like children. They relate to you as a child does, and they see you as the parent. Where this gets complicated is that I don't really have a way of explaining this. I suppose this will sound Freudian. This has just been observed. But I don't have a really great way of explaining this idea. But narcissists are children. Most of the time, they will interact with you as a child, like a child, and that doesn't mean they have to act childlike, but it's the emotional responsibility, the weight, the burden of everything is on you. And if something goes wrong, they will find some way. That's how their whole lives are. That's how they live their lives. Everything is built and structured in a way that they can funnel everything onto you, so that whatever happens, everything they want to do, whatever the result is, if it's something negative, it's something they don't want to be associated with, if it's something that really threatens the illusion of who they are, then it has to become your fault. It has to become your problem. You generated it. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. You've got this issue with whatever it is. And I'll go into more detail in later videos because that's such a long, thorny topic. All the things that can be wrong with you, because they're really good at finding those kinds of things. But that'll be an hour-long video. The complication of this principle arises in that they're not always the child. Sometimes they want to be the parent, and they treat you like the child. I'm not sure why this is, but this role reversal will happen at some point if you know a narcissist in any capacity, mostly in a relationship capacity. In a family, it happens, especially between a narcissistic parent and their child, that role reversal where the child will be expected to step in and take care of things, even though they're kids. They're just little kids. But the narcissist has to have that leeway, that room to be a child, because that's where they desire to be. Where their desire really is to have the parent that takes care of them all the time and quote unquote, loves them unconditionally. Not really, but somebody who, no matter what, will put up with them, always take their abuse, always do as they ask when it comes down to it, when they're pushed to it. And the importance here is that sometimes, for whatever reason, I have some ideas as to why, but I'm not exactly sure, is sometimes they become the parent. They want to lecture you. I think probably because it gives them kind of a flush of power, where they feel it reasserts and reaffirms their control over everything, and reinforces the illusion, which is that they're perfect and they're in control and they've got everything accounted for and nothing could be wrong with them. They're extremely competent and highly intelligent and all that kind of thing. They're the best. And within that child-parent relationship, when it switches around, they become the parent. Now, naturally, you're the child. You're the screw-up. You're the one who can't get anything right. They have to lecture you. They have to tell you how it is. They have to take this away, threaten you with this, and reaffirm that power. Now, how this takes place, unfortunately, I don't have a great explanation as to when this happens. It always happens. They always feel bad. There's always a cycle, and things. And if you're involved in a narcissist, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where there's these spurts of a lot of abuse, you being traumatized, but then them being kind of resituated or fortified in their position. They feel comfortable again, and then they try to get everything rolling back to how it's supposed to be, which is they're nice, you're screwed up, but we're living together. It'll be eternal in this way. We'll just keep living this way, and that's how it's supposed to be. That's the cycle. Because it goes along, it's unsustainable. Things go to heck, and they lose it. Everything's shattered, and you're emotionally traumatized. And then they got to clean that up and get things rolling again. Like, oh, nothing happens, nothing's wrong. Let's continue with this, because they need that supply. They need that to live. They need that crisis to reaffirm themselves. And after reaffirming, what'll happen is the things will go somewhat back to normal. It's not entirely. They try to get everything back to exactly where it was. Unfortunately, the missing link there in their big plan is that you aren't them, and so unless you're really committed, you're really deeply, well, I guess I just say mentally ill in the way that they are, entrenched in the problem, you can't really go back to how it was. That builds up and wears on you, not on them. That's just a way of life for them. That's how they live. And I just want to close this episode with the truth of the matter, which is that the reason that emotional state or position of being the child in a relationship is, as I said earlier, true. They are children. And so the actual truth of the matter is that you're the adult, they're the child, they're riding on your back, they need you to make all those decisions, and they know that you are competent, you're the one to be able to do it, because they know, really they believe and they feel that they can't. They're unable to do so, they're without the control, you're the one with the power to fix things. They don't have that. They're not developed fully. Now, I'm not, again, as far as an explanation goes, as to why are they're so good at projecting this illusion, but they're also really good at positioning themselves so that the illusion can be real, even though it's not real. So they're fantastic at finding you, the right person, the right compatible, dependent, enabling person to manipulate you into believing the illusion and keep it going strong, because they have to have you there in that chaotic environment in order to make the illusion true and get people to believe it. They can't do it on their own. They can never be alone. And on that note, it's a pretty bad prognosis if you're involved with a narcissist, because they never improve, they never change, and they're always just seeking to further that illusion. But just I want that to be the key takeaway from this video, which is the fundamental truth of the situation is actually the exact opposite of what the reality is. Or excuse me, the fundamental truth of the situation is the exact opposite of what their illusion is, which is they're independent, they're the ones taking care of everything, but they're not. It's actually you. And they know it somewhere. They're aware of it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to adapt so quickly when things go awry, when the illusion is threatened. They wouldn't be able to spot people that they can manipulate so easily and so readily if that wasn't the case. So I've always chalked it up as being kind of an instinctual thing. You know, they can be very cerebral and intellectual in how they think and plan things, but most of it's really instinctual. Most of it's an adaptation. And in a similar way as when a child can recognize who their parent is and who the possibly dangerous stranger is. That's how I've always explained it, and I'm not really sure what their experience is of it, because they're in such deep denial. I don't think they can really explain it themselves. It just happens. It's just a process. But not everything they do is conscious. It's important to realize that too. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like this video, share it with anybody you think could benefit from it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want even more information, as always, I published a book. There's a link to it in the description box below. It's called The 16 Signs of a Narcissist. It'll go into depth into all these topics to help you identify a narcissist, if there's one in particular you're wondering about. And thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye.